Welcome, dear dreamer. Tonight, beneath rain-soaked Persian skies, we walk slowly into the world of Ferdowsi, into the timeless whispers of the Shahnameh. Before we begin, I ask gently, please support this channel, Forgotten Hours, by subscribing, leaving a soft like, and sharing with those who cherish peace and history. Your support keeps these whispered journeys alive. Chapter 1. The gentle rain begins. You find yourself walking through the narrow cobblestone streets of Tus, in the heart of ancient Persia. The year is somewhere near the end of the 10th century, and the world feels different here. Older, more mysterious, wrapped in the scent of cardamom and the whisper of centuries past. The evening sky above you is heavy with clouds that have traveled from distant mountains, carrying with them the promise of rain. You can feel it in the air, that particular heaviness that comes before the first drops fall. The merchants in the bazaar are beginning to close their stalls, draping colorful fabrics over their wares, their voices growing softer as the day surrenders to twilight. You move slowly through these ancient streets, your feet finding their way over stones worn smooth by countless generations. The houses around you are built of clay and brick, their walls thick and welcoming, designed to keep the desert heat at bay during scorching summers, and to hold warmth close during the cool nights like this one. Each dwelling seems to breathe with a life of its own, glowing softly from within, where oil lamps cast dancing shadows on painted walls. Feel the gentle breeze as it whispers through the open courtyards, carrying the scent of jasmine and rose. The sound of a distant fountain blends with your breath, calming the mind and soothing the soul. In this tranquil space, let your spirit drift, embraced by the timeless beauty around you. First drops of rain begin to fall, gentle, hesitant drops that kiss your face with coolness. You can hear them pattering against the flat rooftops above, a sound like tiny fingers drumming on clay drums. The rain carries with it the scent of dust being awakened, of earth remembering what it means to drink deeply after weeks of drought. As you walk, you notice how the rain transforms everything it touches. The dust in the streets settles into dark, rich earth. The leaves of the pomegranate trees that peek over courtyard walls seem to straighten and shimmer with new life. The very air becomes cleaner, fresher, filled with the promise of renewal and dreams yet to be born. You find yourself drawn toward a particular house at the end of a quiet lane. It stands somewhat apart from the others, its architecture a gentle whisper of history. You feel a warmth, as if the home welcomes you, inviting you to rest and reflect. Surrounded by a small garden where jasmine climbs the walls and rose bushes heavy with blooms nod in the gentle rain. This is the home of Ferdowsi, though you do not yet know his name. You know only that something important is beginning here tonight. something that will echo through the centuries, like the rain echoes now against the clay tiles. The windows of the house glow with the worn, golden light of oil lamps. Through the carved wooden shutters, you can see the flicker of flames dancing in their brass holders. The rain continues to fall, more steadily now, creating a gentle symphony against the roof, against the leaves in the garden, against the ancient stones beneath your feet. You approach the house slowly, drawn by an invisible thread of curiosity and wonder. The wooden door is carved with intricate patterns of vines and flowers, symbols that speak of abundance and eternal life. Above the doorway, an arch of blue and turquoise tiles catches what little light remains in the darkening sky. Each tile hand-painted with geometric patterns that seem to shift and flow like water in the rain. Through a window, you catch a glimpse of the interior. The room beyond is filled with books and scrolls, their leather bindings dark with age, their pages filled with the wisdom of centuries. Carpets in deep reds and blues cover the floor, their patterns telling stories of their own. In the center of the room, cushions are arranged around a low table where a brass samovar sits steaming, filling the air with the warm scent of tea infused with cardamom and rose petals. The rain grows stronger, but it is not the harsh rain of storms. It is the gentle, persistent rain of autumn, the kind that soaks deep into the earth and prepares it for new growth. You can hear it running through the channels and gutters that line the streets, carrying the day's dust and heat away, leaving everything clean and fresh and ready for dreams. As you stand there in the rain, letting it wash over you like a blessing, you feel your breathing slow and deepen. The rhythm of the raindrops on the rooftops seems to match the beating of your heart, and you realize that time itself has slowed here in this ancient place. The modern world, with all its hurry and noise, feels very far away. Here, there is only the rain, the soft light from the windows, the scent of jasmine and tea, and a deep sense of peace settling into your bones like warmth. You notice that the streets have grown quiet. The last of the merchants have gone home, their voices fading into the distance like echoes of a dream. The only sounds now are the rain, the occasional soft whinny of a horse in a stable somewhere nearby, and the distant call of the muezzin from the mosque tower, his voice floating over the city like a gentle hand smoothing away the worries of the day. The rain continues its patient work, washing the world clean. You can smell it in the air, that particular scent of rain on earth, mixed with the lingering fragrances of the spice merchant stalls, the smoke from clay ovens where bread was baked earlier in the day, and the sweet perfume of night-blooming flowers that are just beginning to open their petals to drink in the moisture. Through the window of the house, you see a figure moving slowly, purposefully, a man of middle years, his beard touched with silver, his eyes deep and thoughtful. He wears a simple robe of dark wool, comfortable and worn, the kind of garment chosen for long hours of contemplation rather than display. This is Ferdowsi, though his great work is still only a whisper in his heart, a calling he has not yet fully understood. He moves through his study like a man walking through a sacred space, touching the spines of his books with reverence, lifting a scroll here and there to breathe in the scent of old parchment and ink. You watch as he lights another oil lamp, the flame catching and growing steady, adding its golden light to the others that illuminate his sanctuary of learning. The rain patters against his windows now, with a rhythm that seems almost like music. You can see how he pauses to listen to it, his head tilted slightly, as if the rain is speaking to him in a language only poets can understand. His eyes grow distant, and you sense that something is stirring within him, some great creative force awakening like seeds, awakening in the rain-soaked earth. As you stand there in the gentle rain, watching this quiet scene unfold, you feel your own thoughts beginning to slow and settle. The rhythm of the raindrops seems to match the rhythm of your breathing, and both seem to match the ancient rhythms of the earth itself. You are no longer simply watching this scene. You are part of it, woven into its quiet magic by the threads of rain and lamplight and the eternal peace of stories waiting to be born. The man in the house, Ferdowsi, moves to his writing table, a low carved piece made of dark wood that has been worn smooth by years of use. Upon it lie sheets of paper, some blank and waiting, others covered with the flowing script of Persian calligraphy. An inkwell sits beside them, its brass surface reflecting the lamplight like a tiny golden sun. You watch as he settles onto the cushions beside his table, his movements slow and deliberate, like a man entering into prayer. He does not yet pick up his reed pen, but simply sits in contemplation, listening to the rain, breathing in the scent of ink and parchment and the jasmine that climbs outside his windows. The rain continues to fall, steady and gentle, washing the world clean and preparing it for the magic that is about to begin. You feel your own breathing deepen and slow, your heartbeat settling into the same rhythm as the raindrops. The peace of this moment seeps into your bones, and you understand that you are witnessing something sacred. The quiet moment before creation begins, when all possibilities hang in the air like raindrops waiting to fall. In the distance, you can hear the soft sound of water running through the channels that carry rainwater from the rooftops to the gardens and courtyards below. This ancient system, perfected over centuries, turns every rainfall into a blessing, distributing the precious water where it is needed most. The sound is soothing, rhythmic, like a lullaby sung by the city itself. The lamp flames flicker gently in the house, casting dancing shadows on the walls where hanging carpets tell their own silent stories. The air is filled with the scent of burning oil, mixed with the fresh, clean smell of rain, and the lingering fragrance of the evening meal. Rice cooked with saffron, lamb seasoned with herbs from the garden, flatbread warm from the clay oven. As the first chapter of this night draws to a close, you feel a deep sense of contentment settling over you, like a warm blanket. The rain continues its gentle conversation with the rooftops and the earth. The lamps continue their patient vigil against the darkness. And somewhere in the house before you, a great poet is preparing to begin the work that will outlive empires and touch hearts across 1,000 years. You close your eyes and let the rain wash over you, feeling each drop like a blessing, each moment like a gift. The ancient city of Tus sleeps peacefully around you, its people safe in their homes, its streets clean and glistening with rain. And you sleep too, carried into dreams by the rhythm of raindrops and the promise of stories yet to be born. Chapter 2. The Lamplit Sanctuary. The rain has settled into its gentle rhythm now, a constant whisper against the clay tiles above. You find yourself somehow inside the house, as if the rain itself has carried you through walls and time, bringing you into the warm sanctuary where Ferdowsi sits in contemplation. The room embraces you with its quiet warmth. Oil lamps burn in brass holders, placed carefully around the space, their flames steady and bright, casting dancing shadows on the walls. The scent of jasmine and rose lingers in the air, mingling with the warmth of freshly brewed tea. Each sip feels like a gentle embrace, guiding you deeper into tranquility. Outside, the world is quiet. Wrapped in the soft embrace of night, you feel safe, surrounded by the gentle, eternal beauty of this sacred place. Casting circles of golden light that overlap and merge, banishing shadows to the far corners. The air shimmers slightly in the heat rising from the lamps, and you can smell the clean, nutty scent of the oil as it burns, mixed with the lingering traces of frankincense from earlier evening prayers. You settle into this space as if you belong here, as if you have always been part of this moment. The cushions beneath you are soft and worn, stuffed with wool and covered in silk that has faded to gentle shades of rose and gold. The carpets beneath your feet tell stories in their patterns. Tales of gardens and fountains, of birds in flight, of the eternal dance between earth and sky. Ferdowsi sits across from you at his low writing table, but he does not yet write. His hands rest quietly on his knees, his breathing deep and measured. You can see how the lamplight catches in his dark eyes, how his face bears the lines of a man who has lived deeply, thought much, and felt the weight of carrying stories too large for one lifetime. The walls around you are lined with wooden shelves that reach from floor to ceiling. Upon these shelves rest the treasures of learning. Books bound in leather, the color of autumn leaves, scrolls wrapped in silk, manuscripts copied by hand in scripts so beautiful they seem more like art than mere writing. Some of these books are very old, their pages yellow with age, their bindings cracked from years of careful use. Others are newer, their ink still dark, their pages crisp. You feel the gentle weight of history in this place, a quiet sanctuary for the soul. Soft whispers of Persian poetry drift through the air, mingling with the scent of jasmine and rose. As you breathe deeply, a sense of calm envelops you. Here, Time seems to stand still, and you are cradled in the embrace of centuries-old wisdom. The flicker of candlelight dances on the walls, casting a golden glow over everything. Their pages crisp with recent inspiration. You can see the rain. You can see the rain through the carved wooden shutters. It catches the light from the oil lamps and sparkles like scattered jewels as it falls past the windows. The sound it makes is hypnotic, rhythmic, like the breathing of the earth itself. Sometimes a stronger gust of wind sends drops against the glass with a gentle tapping, as if the rain is asking permission to enter this sacred space of learning and creation. On the table before Ferdowsi lie the tools of his craft. Sheets of fine paper, creamy and thick, made from cotton and linen, by craftsmen who understand that words need worthy homes. Reed pens cut from marsh grass, their tips shaped with the precision of a master calligrapher. An inkwell carved from brass, its surface decorated with verses from the Quran, in script so delicate it seems to flow like water. And beside these, a small knife for sharpening the pens, a cloth for cleaning them, and a container of sand for blotting the wet ink. The air in the room carries many scents, all of them peaceful and welcoming. The burning oil of the lamps mingles with the smell of old parchment and leather bindings. From somewhere in the house comes the faint aroma of tea brewing in a clay pot, flavored with cardamom and dried rose petals. And through the windows, the rain brings the fresh smell of the garden, jasmine and roses, mint and basil, the dark earth drinking deeply after its long thirst. You watch as Ferdowsi finally reaches for one of his books, an old volume bound in dark leather that has been softened by countless hours in his hands. He opens it carefully, as if greeting an old friend, and begins to read. His lips move slightly as he follows the ancient words, his voice so soft you can barely hear it above the rain. But you can tell from the rhythm of his reading that these are verses of poetry, lines that flow like water, like music, like prayers. The lamplight flickers gently across the pages as he reads, casting moving shadows that make the written words seem to dance. You can see that this book is filled with the works of earlier poets, Rudaki perhaps, or Dakiki, masters who walked this path before Ferdowsi and left footprints he can follow. Their words seem to glow in the lamplight, as if they contain their own source of illumination, their own inner fire. As you sit in this peaceful space, you feel your breathing slow to match the rhythm of the rain. Each breath brings with it the scents of the room, lamp oil and leather, parchment and tea, the fresh earthiness of the rain outside. You feel yourself sinking deeper into the moment, as if time itself has thickened like honey, allowing each second to be savored fully. Ferdowsi closes the book gently and sets it aside. He reaches for another volume, this one even older, its binding worn nearly smooth. As he opens it, you can see that its pages are covered not just with text, but with illuminated letters, each one a tiny work of art painted in gold and blue and deep vermilion. The letters seem to glow in the lamplight like tiny windows into another world. The rain continues its patient conversation with the roof above. Sometimes it whispers softly, like lovers sharing secrets. Sometimes it speaks more boldly, drumming against the tiles with the enthusiasm of children at play. But it never becomes harsh or demanding. This is the gentle rain of inspiration, the rain that awakens sleeping seeds and fills empty wells with the water of possibility. You can hear other sounds too, soft and distant, somewhere in the house. A clock marks the passing hours with a gentle chime. From the kitchen comes the quiet sounds of someone preparing tea. The clink of glasses, the whisper of steam, the soft footsteps of a servant moving carefully so as not to disturb the master's contemplation. These sounds do not intrude upon the peace of the study, but rather enhance it, like instruments in an orchestra, playing their quiet parts in a symphony of serenity. Ferdowsi sets down the second book and reaches for his tea glass. It sits in a holder of worked silver, the tea within dark and fragrant with spices. He sips slowly, thoughtfully, and you can see how the warm liquid relaxes him, how his shoulders settle and his breathing deepens even further. The lamplight catches on the silver holder and throws tiny rainbows on the wall, adding to the magic of the moment. As he drinks, his eyes grow distant, as if he is seeing not just this room, but other times, other places. You sense that he is thinking of the great stories of his people, tales of heroes and kings, of love and loss, of the eternal struggle between light and darkness that plays out in every human heart. These stories live within him, like seeds, waiting for the right moment to sprout and grow. The rain grows slightly heavier, and you can hear it running through the gutters and downspouts, carrying the water away to the gardens and courtyards where it will nourish the flowers and fruit trees. This ancient system of water management is like poetry itself, taking what falls from heaven and directing it where it can do the most good, turning the gift of rain into the blessing of abundance. You feel your eyelids growing heavy as you sit in this warm, tranquil space, lamplit sanctuary. The rhythm of the rain is like a lullaby, the flickering flames like gentle hypnotists, leading you deeper into peace. But you do not fight the drowsiness. Instead, you let it wash over you like the rain itself, carrying away the tensions and worries of the day, and leaving only calm in their wake. Ferdowsi sets down his tea glass and reaches for one of his reed pens. He examines it carefully in the lamplight, testing its tip with the pad of his thumb. Satisfied, he dips it into the brass inkwell, watching as the dark liquid climbs up into the hollow reed like life itself flowing into an empty vessel. He holds the pen poised above a blank sheet of paper, but he does not yet begin to write. Instead, he closes his eyes and listens to the rain, to the night, to something deeper still. You can see that he is waiting for the right moment, the moment when inspiration and preparation meet, like rain meeting thirsty earth. His face is peaceful, patient, like a man who has learned that the best things in life cannot be rushed, but must be allowed to arrive in their own time. The flames of the oil lamps flicker gently, casting ever-changing patterns of light and shadow on the walls. These patterns seem alive, dancing to music only they can hear. Sometimes they merge together in bright pools of gold. Sometimes they separate into delicate fingers of light that seem to beckon you deeper into this moment of perfect peace. As the second chapter of this gentle night draws to a close, you feel yourself floating in a sea of contentment. The rain continues its blessing song above. The lamps continue their faithful watch against the darkness. And somewhere in the depths of a great poet's heart, the first words of an immortal epic are beginning to stir like flowers preparing to bloom in the rain-washed garden of his soul. Chapter 3. The Weight of Words. The night deepens around you like a gentle embrace. The rain has found its perfect rhythm now, neither urgent nor hesitant, but flowing with the steady patience of eternity itself. You feel yourself settling even more deeply into this moment, as if you are becoming part of the very fabric of the night, woven into its peace by threads of lamplight and the soft whisper of falling rain. Ferdowsi still sits motionless at his writing table, the reed pen poised in his hand like a wand waiting for the right spell. But you sense that his stillness is not empty. It is full, pregnant with possibility. Like the moment between lightning and thunder, between the question and its answer. The blank page before him seems to glow in the lamplight, as if it knows that its emptiness will soon be transformed into something precious. The oil lamps around the room burn with steady devotion, their flames reaching upward like prayers made visible. Each flame casts its own circle of warm light, and where these circles overlap, the brightness grows even softer, even more golden. You can see how the light catches on the brass fittings of the inkwell, on the worn edges of the books, on the silver threads woven into the carpet beneath your feet. Through the carved wooden shutters, you can hear a gentle breeze, rustling through the leaves of a distant garden, a place inspired by ancient Persian traditions, a place of peace where time slows and you feel embraced by the timeless beauty around you. You can see the rain painting silver lines against the darkness. Each drop catches a fragment of lamplight as it falls, creating tiny stars that live for just a moment before disappearing into the earth. The sound they make is like 1,000 tiny bells ringing in harmony, or like the whisper of silk sliding against silk, or like the breathing of angels walking through the night. You notice that the scents in the room have deepened and mellowed as the night has grown older. The frankincense from evening prayers has blended with the smell of burning lamp oil to create something rich and contemplative. The leather bindings of the books release their earthy fragrance into the warm air. And from the garden outside, the rain brings the perfume of night-blooming jasmine, its flowers opening in the darkness like stars scattered across the climbing vines. Ferdowsi takes a slow, deep breath, and you can see that something has shifted within him. His eyes, which had been distant and dreaming, now focus with sudden intensity on the blank page before him. But still he does not write, not yet. Instead he speaks, his voice so soft it barely rises above the sound of the rain. Be name Khodai jan o khirad, he whispers, the ancient Persian words flowing like honey, like water, like the very essence of poetry itself. In the name of God, the Lord of soul and wisdom. You do not need to understand every word to feel their power, their weight, their perfect rightness in this moment. These are not just words. They are the opening notes of a symphony that will play for 1,000 years. He dips his pen again into the inkwell, and this time, when he lifts it, drops of dark ink fall back into the brass container like tiny black pearls. The ink that remains in the pen seems almost alive, eager to flow onto the waiting paper and become something more than mere liquid, to become thought made visible, imagination given form. The first stroke of his pen across the paper sounds like a whisper, like a sigh, like the softest possible greeting between old friends. You watch as the elegant curves of Persian script begin to appear, each letter flowing into the next with the grace of water finding its course down a mountainside. The calligraphy is more than writing. It is art. It is music made visible. It is the dance of meaning and beauty wedded together in perfect harmony. As he writes, the rain seems to write too, inscribing its own temporary poetry on the windows, on the rooftops, on the leaves in the garden. But where the rain's words will dry and disappear with the morning sun, Ferdowsi's words are being born to live forever, to carry the dreams and wisdom of his people across centuries yet to come. You can see how writing changes him. As the words flow from his pen, his face becomes more peaceful, more luminous, as if he is not just creating beauty, but being transformed by it. Each word he writes seems to lighten some burden he has been carrying. Each line seems to open new spaces in his heart for joy and wonder to enter. The lamplight flickers gently across the growing text, and you can see that his handwriting is exquisite. Each letter perfectly formed, each word spaced with mathematical precision, each line straight as an arrow and beautiful as a prayer. This is the work of a master calligrapher as well as a poet, someone who understands that the beauty of words must be matched by the beauty of their physical form. Between lines of writing, he pauses to listen to the rain, to sip his cooling tea, to gaze into the dancing flames of the oil lamps. These pauses are not interruptions, but integral parts of his creative process. Moments when inspiration settles more deeply into his soul, when the next words gather themselves like rain, gathering in clouds before it falls. You feel yourself breathing in rhythm with his writing, a slow breath in as he considers the next line. Shh, a gentle breath out as the words flow onto the paper. The rhythm is hypnotic, peaceful, like a meditation that includes you in its circle of tranquility. Your eyelids grow heavy, but in a pleasant way, like flowers heavy with dew at the end of a perfect day. The sounds of the night create a symphony around the central melody of pen on paper. The rain provides the steady bass note, constant and reassuring. The flames of the oil lamps at their tiny whispers, like wind instruments playing their softest possible song. From somewhere in the house comes the barely audible tick of a water clock, marking time in drops rather than seconds. And underneath it all, the sound of Ferdowsi's breathing, deep and regular, the rhythm of a soul at peace with its purpose. As the night grows deeper, you begin to understand that you are witnessing something more than just the beginning of a great poem. You are seeing the moment when the oral tradition of a people begins to transform itself into written literature, when stories that have lived only in memory and voice begin to take on the permanence of ink and paper. This is one of those pivot points in history when something precious is saved from the river of time. The words continue to flow from Ferdowsi's pen like water from a spring that has just been discovered. Each line builds upon the last, creating not just a story, but a world of heroes and kings, of magical birds and talking horses, of battles between good and evil that echo the battles in every human heart. You can sense the vastness of what he is beginning, like a man who has opened a door and seen an ocean beyond. The rain outside seems to approve of his work, maintaining its gentle applause against the rooftops and windows. Sometimes a drop finds its way through a tiny gap in the shutters and falls onto the floor with a soft pat, like punctuation marks in the night's own poem. These small intrusions do not disturb Ferdowsi. Instead, they seem to inspire him, reminding him that he's part of something larger than himself, part of the great conversation between earth and sky, between past and future. You notice that the tea in his glass has grown cold, but he continues to sip it occasionally, perhaps more for the comfort of the familiar gesture than for the warmth. The silver holder around the glass catches the lamplight and throws tiny spots of brightness on the ceiling, like stars reflected in water, like hope scattered across the darkness of doubt. As he writes, you can see stories beginning to take shape in the ink. Not just the story he is telling, but the story of this night itself, the story of rain and lamplight and the patience required to create something beautiful. Each word he writes becomes part of a larger tapestry. Each line adds to a pattern that will be complete only when the last word of the great epic is written, many years from now. The third chapter of this gentle night draws toward its close, like a prayer approaching its final Amen. The rain continues its patient blessing song. The lamps continue their fateful vigil against the darkness. And on the paper before Ferdowsi, the first words of the Shahnameh continue to appear like flowers blooming in the garden of his imagination. You feel yourself sinking deeper into the peace of this moment, as soft whispers of Sufi thought dance around you. The gentle flow of fabric, the warm touch of a teacup, the tranquil beauty of Persian gardens, all these embrace you, enveloping you in calm and peace as you drift into a restful sleep, carried by the rhythm of rain and pen, and breathing heart into dreams where poetry and life become one eternal song. Chapter 4. The Garden of Memory. Deeper into the night you drift, carried by the gentle current of rain and the whisper of reed pen across paper. The boundaries between waking and sleeping have grown soft here in this lamplit sanctuary, like the edges of watercolors bleeding into one another on wet silk. You are still present, still aware, but in a way that feels more like floating than sitting, more like dreaming than watching. Ferdowsi has written several lines now, and you can see how the words seem to glow on the page in the lamplight. The ink has dried to a deep, rich black that seems to hold depths within it, like looking into clear water at midnight. Each letter is a small masterpiece of calligraphy. Each word, a jewel set carefully into the growing crown of his epic poem. The page no longer looks blank and waiting. It looks alive, breathing with the rhythm of newly born verse. The rain outside has settled into an even deeper rhythm, like the breathing of the earth itself in peaceful sleep. You can hear it running through the channels that will carry it to the garden, where tomorrow the roses will lift their heads with new dewdrops in their petals, where the jasmine will climb higher on its trellises, where the pomegranate trees will stretch their branches toward the sky in gratitude for this gift of water. Through the carved shutters, the soft glow of lantern light dances on the walls, casting gentle shadows. The scent of blooming roses mingles with the earthy aroma of fresh soil, wrapping you in a comforting embrace. The tranquility of the Persian garden whispers secrets of ancient wisdom and peace, inviting you to relax, to breathe, and to dream. You catch glimpses of the garden itself. Moonlight, filtered through the rain clouds, falls in patches across the pathways between the flower beds. The fountain in the center of the courtyard overflows with fresh rainwater, creating a gentle music. The scents that float through the room have grown even richer as the night deepens. The rain has awakened every fragrance in the garden and carried them through the windows on the cool night air. Rose and jasmine mingle with the green smell of wet earth and the spicy fragrance of herbs growing in neat rows along the garden walls. Mint and basil, coriander and tarragon, each plant releasing its essence into the night like prayers of gratitude for the blessing of rain. Ferdowsi pauses in his writing and sets down his pen. He rises from his cushions with the careful movements of a man who has been sitting in contemplation for many hours, his joints stiff, but his spirit supple as water. He walks to one of the tall windows that look out into the garden, opening the shutters wider to let more of the night air flow into the room. As he stands there, silhouetted against the rain-washed darkness, you can see how the garden seems to call to him. This is more than just the courtyard of his house. It is the landscape of his imagination, the physical representation of the inner world where his stories grow like flowers, where his characters walk among the rose bushes and speak their eternal lines beneath the pomegranate trees. He breathes deeply, taking the scented air into his lungs as if it were inspiration itself. You watch as his eyes move across the rain-darkened garden, seeing not just what is there, but what has been there, what will be there, what exists in the timeless realm, where poetry transforms life into legend. Every shadow might hold a hero. Every flower might whisper the secret name of a beloved. Every drop of rain might carry the essence of an epic tale. When he returns to his writing table, something has changed. His movements are more fluid now, as if the garden air has reminded him that he is not just a scribe copying old stories, but a creator giving birth to new worlds. He settles onto his cushions with the grace of a man who has found his perfect purpose, who has discovered the exact point where his deepest gifts meet the world's deepest need. The oil lamps around the room seem to burn brighter now, as if they too have been refreshed by the night air. Their flames dance more freely, casting patterns of light and shadow that seem almost intentional, almost deliberate, like illustrations for the story that is growing word by word on the page before him. The room itself has become a collaborator in the creative process, offering its own forms of beauty to support and inspire the work. You feel yourself settling even deeper into the peace of this moment. Your breathing has synchronized completely with the rhythm of the rain, and both seem to match the slow, steady beating of your heart. The warmth of the room embraces you like a gentle hand, and the soft sounds of pen on paper, rain on roof, flame flickering in still air create a lullaby that reaches into the very depths of your soul. Ferdowsi dips his pen again and begins to write with new energy. The words flow more quickly now, as if the dam that had been holding back the flood of his inspiration has finally opened. You can see how his hand moves with increasing confidence across the page, how each line builds upon the last to create something that is more than the sum of its parts, a living, breathing work of art that will outlast the very stones of the city where it is being born. As he writes, he sometimes speaks the words aloud in a whisper so soft it barely disturbs the air. You can hear the music in the language, the way the syllables flow together like water finding its natural course down a hillside. Persian poetry has always been meant to be heard as well as read, and even in these whispered fragments, you can sense the power that will make this work beloved by generations yet unborn. The rain continues its patient conversation with the night, sometimes speaking in single drops that tap against the shutters like fingers requesting entry, sometimes in gentle cascades that flow from the roof tiles like liquid silver in the lamplight. But always it maintains its character as the rain of blessing, the rain that awakens rather than destroys, that nourishes rather than floods, that brings life rather than chaos. You notice that time has taken on a different quality here in this room. Minutes might be passing, or hours, or years. It no longer matters. What matters is the eternal present moment in which beauty is being born, in which the dreams of a people are being given permanent form, in which the rain and the lamplight and the whisper of pen on paper are creating something that will echo through centuries, like ripples spreading across the still surface of a mountain lake. The books that line the walls seem to lean forward in their shelves, as if they too are listening to the birth of their newest sibling. Some of these volumes contain the works of poets who wrote centuries ago, their words preserved like flowers pressed between the pages of memory. Others hold the wisdom of philosophers and historians, the accumulated knowledge that Ferdowsi will draw upon as he weaves his great tapestry of story and song. From the kitchen comes the soft sound of someone preparing fresh tea. You can hear the gentle clink of glasses, the whisper of steam rising from the samovar, the careful footsteps of a servant who understands that his master is engaged in sacred work that must not be disturbed. These sounds do not intrude upon the peace of the study, but rather enhance it, creating the perfect backdrop for creation. The garden outside continues to drink the rain like a grateful child drinks mother's milk. You can almost see the flowers lifting their faces to catch each drop, the herbs stretching their leaves to gather the moisture that will make them more fragrant tomorrow, the trees spreading their branches wide to channel the water down their trunks to the roots that will transform it into new growth. As the fourth chapter of this gentle night approaches its end, you feel yourself floating in a sea of perfect contentment. The rain blesses the earth with its patient love. The lamps guard the darkness with their faithful light. And on the page before Ferdowsi, the immortal words of the Shahnameh continue to appear like stars emerging one by one in the clearing sky of his imagination. You are witness to a miracle as quiet and powerful as the rain itself, the transformation of dream into reality, of inspiration into art, of one man's vision into humanity's treasure. Chapter 5. The Dawn of Epic. The deepest hour of night has arrived, that sacred time when the world holds its breath between yesterday and tomorrow. You float in perfect stillness within this moment, suspended like a drop of dew that has not yet decided whether to fall or to remain suspended in the cool air, catching and reflecting all the gentle lights around it, like lovers who have moved past passion into the deeper intimacy of perfect understanding. Ferdowsi has filled several pages now with his flowing script, and you can see how each completed page seems to glow with its own inner light. The words no longer appear to be merely ink on paper, but rather living things that breathe and pulse with the rhythm of the great story they are telling. When he sets each finished page aside to dry, it joins the growing stack of manuscript, like a newborn star joining its constellation, adding its light to the greater pattern that is slowly emerging. The oil lamps around the room have burned lower now, their flames smaller, but no less devoted in their vigil against the darkness. The brass holders that contain them have grown warm to the touch, radiating gentle heat that mingles with the coolness brought by the rain-washed air flowing through the windows. This perfect balance between warmth and coolness, between light and shadow, between sound and silence, creates an atmosphere so peaceful you can see how the night's work has transformed Ferdowsi himself. The lines of weariness that marked his face when evening first fell have been replaced by something else. Not youth exactly, but the timeless quality that comes to those who have found their true calling. His eyes shine with an inner fire that seems to match the flames of his lamps, soft and glowing. In the quiet of this moment, you feel a gentle breeze, carrying scents of jasmine and roses, like the gardens of Shiraz, where every step is a journey through history and beauty. You remember the ritual of tea, poured with care in delicate porcelain cups, the warmth spreading through your hands, a perfect blend of flavors and tranquility. As you breathe in the serenity, let your mind wander to the ancient wisdom of Sufi thought, where every moment is a reflection of the divine. You are safe, loved, and surrounded by timeless peace. Let sleep gently embrace you as you drift into dreams beneath the stars. The rain has gentled even further, becoming less a falling of water and more a whisper of blessing that touches the earth so softly it seems almost like a dream of rain rather than rain itself. Through the windows, you can see how it transforms everything it touches. The leaves of the garden plants seem to glow with silver light. The stone pathways gleam like polished mirrors, and the fountain in the courtyard overflows with liquid music that harmonizes perfectly with the soft patter of drops on roof tiles. As you float in this timeless moment, you begin to understand something profound about the nature of creation itself. You see how Ferdowsi is not just writing words, but weaving them into a fabric that will warm human hearts for centuries to come. Each character he creates, each adventure he describes, each moment of beauty or courage or love that he captures in verse becomes a thread in the great tapestry of human experience, softly weaving together the essence of life, adding strength and color to the pattern that connects all souls across all time. The scents in the room have deepened and mellowed like wine aging in perfect cellars. The frankincense has blended completely with the lamp oil to create an aroma that seems to belong not to any earthly place, but to the realm where inspiration lives. The leather of the old books releases its ancient fragrance into the warm air, carrying with it the accumulated wisdom of generations. And through the windows comes the perfume of the rain-blessed garden, jasmine and rose, mint and basil, and the clean, pure smell of earth drinking deeply after its patient thirst. Ferdowsi pauses again in his writing, but this time it is not the pause of uncertainty or searching. This is the pause of a musician who has found the perfect rhythm and wants to let it settle fully into his bones before continuing. He sets down his pen and flexes his fingers, working out the gentle stiffness that comes from hours of careful work. Then he reaches for his tea glass, though the tea within has long since grown cold. As he sips the cool tea, his eyes move across the pages he has written, reading his own words as if seeing them for the first time. You can see the wonder in his face, the amazement of a creator who has watched something beautiful emerge from the marriage of inspiration and craft. It is the look of a gardener who has planted seeds in faith, and now sees the first green shoots pushing up through the dark earth toward the light. The rain continues its gentle benediction, and you can hear how its voice has changed subtly as the night has deepened. Where earlier it spoke with the enthusiasm of a new beginning, now it murmurs with the satisfaction of work well done, of seeds well planted, of ground well prepared for the growth that will come with tomorrow's sun. It has the quality of a lullaby sung by the earth itself, drawing all living things deeper into the restorative peace of night. Through the carved shutters, you can see the faintest suggestion that dawn is still hours away, but no longer impossible to imagine. The darkness has reached that perfect depth where it becomes not the absence of light, but the presence of possibility, the fertile void from which all new things emerge. Stars, invisible through the rain clouds, nevertheless make their presence felt like distant music heard in dreams. Ferdowsi rises once more from his cushions and walks to the window. But this time, he steps outside onto the covered veranda that overlooks his garden. You follow him in spirit, feeling the cool night air on your skin like a gentle blessing, breathing in the perfume of rain-washed flowers and the clean scent of wet earth. The rain touches your face with tiny, cool kisses, each drop carrying the essence of sky and cloud and the infinite generosity of heaven. Standing there in the gentle rain, Ferdowsi spreads his arms wide, as if to embrace the entire night, the entire garden, the entire world that has given him this gift of story. You can see how he understands now that he is not the creator of his epic, but rather its midwife, helping to bring into the world something that has always existed in the realm of eternal possibility. The stories he is writing are as old as human hope and as new as this very moment. When he returns to his writing table, droplets of rain sparkle in his beard and on his woolen robe like tiny diamonds, like captured stars. He settles onto his cushions with even greater serenity than before, as if the rain has washed away the last traces of doubt or hesitation from his spirit. His hand finds the reed pen with the certainty of a bird returning to its nest, and the words begin to flow again with renewed power and grace. You watch as the pages continue to accumulate, each one adding to the growing manuscript, like stones being laid in the foundation of a great cathedral. But these stones are made of words, and their mortar is the love that Ferdowsi pours into every line, every verse, every carefully crafted image that will live in human memory long after the paper itself has crumbled to dust. The oil lamps burn on with patient devotion, their flames smaller now, but no less faithful. You feel yourself sinking deeper into the perfect peace of this moment. Your breathing has become so synchronized with the rhythm of the raindrops that you no longer know where the sound ends and your heartbeat begins. The warmth of the room embraces you like the arms of a loving parent, and the gentle sounds of creation, pen on paper, rain on roof, flame flickering in still air, create a symphony that reaches into the very depths of your soul and sings you toward the sweetest of sleeps. The garden outside drinks the rain with infinite gratitude, and you can almost feel the flowers stretching their petals wider to catch each precious drop. The herbs lifting their leaves to gather the moisture that will make them more fragrant with tomorrow's sun. This is the eternal cycle of giving and receiving, of blessing offered and blessing accepted, that connects all living things in the great web of existence. Ferdowsi continues to write, his hand moving across the page with the fluid grace of water finding its course down a mountainside. Each word he writes becomes part of something larger than itself. Each line contributes to a vision that encompasses not just the stories of ancient heroes, but the dreams and hopes and deepest longings of the human heart. He is not just telling tales. He is creating a mirror in which every soul can see its own reflection. The night deepens around you like a gentle hand closing over a sleeping child. The rain whispers its endless song of blessing and renewal. The lamps maintain their faithful watch against the darkness, and on the pages before Ferdowsi, the immortal words of the Shahnameh continue to appear like flowers blooming in the secret garden of the imagination. You are cradled in this moment of perfect peace, surrounded by ancient echoes of wisdom. As you breathe deeply, feel the soft touch of flowing fabric and the gentle flicker of candlelight, guiding you into deeper relaxation. In this tranquil space, you are one with the harmony of the universe, carried by the rhythm of rain and breath and beating heart, into dreams where poetry and life become one eternal, ever-flowing song. As the fifth and final chapter of this gentle night draws to its close, you feel yourself floating in a sea of infinite contentment. The rain has blessed the earth with its patient love. Ferdowsi has blessed the world with the gift of his vision, and you have been blessed beyond measure to witness this quiet miracle of creation. The boundaries between waking and sleeping, between story and life, between past and present, dissolve like raindrops merging with the vast ocean of night. You rest now in the perfect peace of stories well told and dreams well dreamed, carried into sleep by the eternal lullaby of rain on ancient rooftops and the whisper of immortal words being born in the lamp-lit sanctuary of the human heart. And so you sleep, deeply, peacefully, cradled by the gentle rain and the soft light of oil lamps, and the knowledge that somewhere in the world, in every moment, beautiful things are being born from the marriage of inspiration and dedication, of dream and reality, of the eternal human need to transform experience into art, sorrow into beauty, and the fleeting moments of mortal life into the imperishable treasures of the soul. Sleep well, dear dreamer, for you have witnessed a miracle as quiet and powerful as the rain itself, and you carry its blessing with you into the country of dreams. Chapter 6. The First Dawn. You breathe in the deepening quiet of the night chamber and feel how the darkness has grown fuller, richer, like velvet drawn across the world. The rain continues its eternal conversation with the clay tiles above, each drop a whispered secret, each rivulet a gentle song flowing down the curved surfaces of the roof. Your fingers trace the edge of the wooden writing desk, feeling how the grain has been worn smooth by countless nights like this one. The surface holds the warmth of your palms, and beneath your touch, you sense the ghost impressions of words written long ago. Other poets, other dreamers who sat in this same place when the night was deep and the rain was falling. The oil lamp flickers beside you, its flame dancing in the subtle currents of air that move through the chamber. You watch the light play across the parchment before you, casting golden shadows that seem to breathe with their own quiet life. The ink glistens where you have written the opening verses, the first words of what will become something vast and beautiful, though you do not yet know its full shape. The scent of frankincense rises from the small brazier in the corner, mixing with the earthy smell of rain-soaked garden soil that drifts through the latticed window. You breathe it in deeply, feeling how the fragrance seems to open pathways in your mind, corridors of memory and imagination that stretch back through centuries of Persian song and story. Your hand moves almost without conscious thought, picking up the reed pen once more. The weight of it feels familiar in your fingers, like holding a feather from some great bird of poetry that has alighted in your chamber for this one perfect night. You dip the tip in the ink, watching how the dark liquid clings to the reed, ready to flow into words that will outlive the storm, outlive the night, outlive even the stones of this house. On the parchment, you begin to write again, not the heroic verses of kings and battles that will come later, but something softer, more intimate. Words about the rain itself, about the way lamplight falls across an empty page, about the silence that holds all stories within its depths. In the heart of the night, when rain speaks to earth, when the lamp's golden eye watches over dreams, the poet sits with darkness as his companion and listens for the whispers of unborn songs. You pause, letting the ink dry, feeling how each word seems to settle into the parchment like seeds planted in fertile ground. The rain continues its gentle drumming above, and you imagine how it sounds different on every surface, soft on the garden leaves, musical on the stone channels, almost silent on the smooth surface of the reflecting pool. Through the window, you catch glimpses of the garden in the intermittent flashes of distant lightning. The cypress trees stand like dark prayers against the sky, their branches swaying in the wind with a motion that seems ancient and knowing. The rose bushes huddle close to the earth, their blooms closed against the rain, waiting for the return of sun and warmth. You rise from the desk for a moment, moving to the window with steps that make no sound on the thick carpet. Your feet sink into the woven patterns, geometric flowers and vines that seem to glow faintly in the lamplight, as if they were alive with their own inner illumination. At the window, you place your palms against the cool latticed screen and feel the moisture that has gathered there from the rain-heavy air. The metal is smooth under your touch, crafted by artisans whose names are forgotten, but whose skill lives on in every curve and intersection of the decorative pattern. Beyond the garden walls, you can sense the sleeping city, houses where other lamps burn low, where other dreamers lie listening to the rain, where merchants and mystics, gardeners and scholars all rest under the same dark sky. You are connected to them all by the threads of this storm, this night, this moment when the world pauses between breaths. You return to the desk, settling back into the cushion that has molded itself to the shape of your body through long hours of writing. The parchment waits, patient as starlight, ready to receive whatever words the night might offer. You pick up the pen again, feeling its familiar weight, and notice how your breathing has slowed to match the rhythm of the rain. The flame of the oil lamp burns steady now, its light creating a small circle of warmth and visibility in the larger darkness of the chamber. Within this circle, you exist in perfect solitude, not loneliness, but the deep contentment of being alone with purpose, alone with the vast quiet that precedes creation. You think of the old masters whose works line the shelves around you, poets who sat through nights like this one centuries ago, weaving words that would survive long after their voices had fallen silent. Their presence seems to fill the room now, not as ghosts, but as gentle companions, their wisdom flowing through the air like the fragrance of old parchment and dried roses. The ink flows across the page in characters that seem to write themselves, each letter forming with a grace that surprises you. The Persian script flows like water, like the rain itself, each word connected to the next in an unbroken stream of meaning and music. The night rain carries stories from distant mountains, each drop a messenger bearing news of snow that will melt come spring into rivers that will sing their way to gardens not yet planted. You pause to read what you have written, your voice barely above a whisper as you speak the words aloud. They seem to hang in the air of the chamber like incense, like prayer, adding their own fragrance to the night's deep breathing. The rain grows softer now, its percussion becoming more subtle, more intimate. Instead of the earlier drumming, it now sounds like fingers trailing across silk, like whispered conversations between lovers, like the turning of pages in some vast book written in the language of water and wind. You set down the pen, and stretch your fingers, feeling the pleasant ache that comes from holding the reed for so long. Your hand bears the small stain of ink that marks all writers, a badge of your calling, a sign that you have spent this night in service to something larger than yourself. The oil in the lamp has burned lower, and the flame now dances more freely, casting shifting patterns of light and shadow across the walls of the chamber. You watch these patterns with the relaxed attention of deep contentment, seeing in them the faces of heroes not yet born, the outlines of stories that will come to you in future nights like this one. From somewhere in the house comes the soft sound of settling wood, of stone cooling in the night air. These are the gentle voices of a dwelling at rest, the quiet conversations that walls and rafters have with each other when the day's heat fades and the night's coolness settles over everything like a blessing. You lean back in your chair, letting your gaze move slowly around the chamber that has become your world for these past hours. The bookshelves seem to glow with their own inner light, each volume a doorway to different landscapes of thought and feeling. The small brazier in the corner breathes out its last wisps of frankincense, adding a final note of sanctity to the already holy atmosphere of this writing night. The rain continues, but you sense that it is beginning its slow retreat. The drops that strike the window now are larger, more spaced apart, like the final words of a prayer being whispered to completion. Soon the storm will move on, carrying its gift of moisture to other gardens, other cities, other poets sitting in other lamplit chambers. But for now, in this perfect moment, you exist in the heart of the rain's embrace. The night wraps around you like the softest wool. The darkness holds you like a mother's arms, and the words flow onto the parchment with the ease of breath, with the inevitability of dawn that you know will come, but not yet, not for hours yet. You pick up the pen one more time, feeling how it has warmed to your touch, how it has become an extension of your own hand, your own heart, your own voice, finding its way onto the waiting page. The ink flows dark and rich, each character a small work of art, each word a step forward on a journey that will continue for years, for decades, through nights and days yet to come. In the palace of rain, where silence reigns as king, the poet discovers that he is both servant and master, both the singer and the song, both the dreamer and the dream. The words complete themselves on the page, and you feel a deep satisfaction settle over you like the warmth from a perfectly tended fire. This is what you were born to do, to sit in the darkness with light beside you, to listen to the rain's ancient wisdom, to translate the night's deepest secrets into words that others will read. You close your eyes and let yourself sink deeper into the chair, feeling how the night has changed you, how these hours of writing have carved new channels in your soul for future rivers of verse to flow through. The rain speaks to you now in a language you understand more fully than before, and you know that when you wake, you will remember not just the words you have written, but the feeling of being held by the darkness, surrounded by silence, supported by the eternal conversation between earth and sky. The oil lamp flickers once more, its flame bending and straightening, like a bow being drawn across invisible strings. The light dances across your closed eyelids, painting patterns that look like gardens, like flowing water, like the faces of all the heroes and heroines whose stories you will tell in the nights and years to come. But that is tomorrow's work and tomorrow's dreams. Tonight, you rest in the perfect completion of beginning, in the deep satisfaction of words found and set down, in the gentle embrace of rain that continues its quiet blessing of the world outside your chamber, outside your garden, outside the walls that hold you and your words in their protective circle of stone and silence. You breathe in once more, deeply, letting the night air fill your lungs completely. The scent carries rain and frankincense, old parchment and new ink, the green growing smell of the garden, and something else, something that might be hope or joy, or simply the deep contentment that comes when you know you have been exactly where you belonged, doing exactly what you were meant to do. The rain grows softer still, its voice becoming a lullaby now, a gentle song that will carry you toward whatever dreams await in the small hours before dawn. Your hand rests on the completed page, feeling the slight roughness of the parchment, the raised texture where the ink has dried into permanent words that will outlast this night, this season, this lifetime. In the growing quiet, you hear other sounds emerging. The soft drip of water from the eaves, the whisper of wind in the cypress trees, the distant sound of a night bird calling from somewhere deep in the garden. These are the voices that will accompany your dreams, the gentle chorus that will watch over your sleep and be waiting when you wake to continue the work of weaving stories from starlight and rain. The oil lamp burns lower now, its flame smaller but no less warm, no less faithful in its duty to hold back the darkness for just a little longer. Like the night itself, like the rain that blessed your writing, like the words that flowed from your pen to the page, it gives what it has to give with perfect generosity, asking nothing in return but the chance to serve, to illumine, to be part of something beautiful and necessary and true. You settle deeper into the night's embrace, feeling how the darkness has become familiar, comfortable, like the presence of an old friend who knows when to speak and when to simply sit in companionable silence. The rain's voice grows more distant now, but it does not disappear entirely. Instead, it becomes part of the deeper rhythm of the night, the pulse that underlies all other sounds, the heartbeat of the world itself as it turns slowly through the hours toward dawn. And in this perfect moment, surrounded by the fruits of your night's work, held by the gentle presence of rain and lamplight, you know with absolute certainty that you have found your place in the great story that encompasses all stories. You are the teller and the listener, the writer and the reader, the dreamer who gives form to dreams, and the dreamer who receives them in return. The night deepens around you, and the words you have written seem to glow on the page with their own inner light. Each character a small star in the constellation of meaning you have created. Tomorrow, there will be more words, more nights, more rain to listen to and learn from. But tonight, you rest in the quiet triumph of beginning, in the gentle satisfaction of words found and treasured, in the perfect peace that comes when rain and lamplight and human heart work together to create something that was not in the world before, and now is, and always will be. The night holds you now in its deepest quiet, and you surrender to its embrace with the trust of a child, knowing that when dawn comes, you will wake to find that the world has been transformed, not by any grand gesture, but by the simple miracle of words written in darkness, blessed by rain, illuminated by the faithful flame of one small lamp burning through the long, gentle night. Chapter 7. The Garden of Memory. You find yourself walking through corridors that seem to breathe with the weight of centuries. Your bare feet touching cool marble floors that have witnessed the passage of countless seasons. The rain continues its gentle symphony above, each droplet a whispered promise against the clay tiles of this ancient Persian home. The air carries the mingled scents of wet earth and old parchment, of sandalwood incense burning somewhere in the distance, of jasmine that climbs the walls beyond these windows. You move slowly, as if walking through water, each step deliberate and peaceful, each breath drawing you deeper into this world of contemplation and creation. Through an archway carved with delicate geometric patterns, you enter what might once have been a library, though now it serves as something more intimate, more personal. Shelves line the walls from floor to ceiling, filled with scrolls and bound volumes, their leather covers worn smooth by countless hands, their pages holding the wisdom of ages past. The scholar sits at a low wooden table, his figure bent over sheets of fine paper. The soft scratch of his reed pen creating a rhythm that harmonizes with the rain. Candles placed strategically around the room cast a warm, golden glow, their flames dancing slightly in the gentle air currents that move through this sacred space. You settle into a corner where silk cushions have been arranged, their deep crimson and midnight blue colors muted in the candlelight. From here, you can observe without disturbing, can listen to the gentle sounds of creation, the whisper of paper, the soft intake of breath as the writer pauses to consider his next words. On the table beside him, you notice a delicate glass of tea, steam rising from its amber surface like tiny spirits seeking the sky. The glass itself is a work of art, etched with flowing calligraphy that catches and reflects the candlelight, creating patterns of light that dance across the nearby pages. The room breathes with quiet energy, not the harsh urgency of daylight tasks, but the deep, contemplative rhythm of night work, of sacred creation. You feel your own breathing slow to match this pace, your heartbeat finding harmony with the gentle percussion of rain against glass. Books lie open on nearby surfaces, their pages revealing glimpses of ancient wisdom, fragments of poetry that seem to float in the soft light like half-remembered dreams. You catch sight of verses in elegant script, lines that speak of heroes and kingdoms, of love that transcends mortal bounds, of journeys that lead not to distant lands, but to the depths of the human soul. The writer lifts his pen and holds it suspended for a moment, as if listening to voices that speak only in the silence between raindrops. His eyes, though focused on the page, seem to see beyond the physical words, to perceive the larger story that unfolds in realms invisible to ordinary sight. You watch as he dips the pen once more into the dark ink, a substance that seems to hold within it all the mysteries of night itself. Each letter he forms flows like water, like the very rain that falls outside, carrying meaning from the realm of pure thought into the world of form and substance. The garden beyond the windows calls to your attention, though you cannot see it clearly through the rain-streaked glass. You sense its presence, the sleeping roses, the fountains that continue their eternal song even in darkness, the pathways where peacocks fold their brilliant feathers against the gentle storm. Here, in this room, time moves differently, not in the rushing minutes of daylight hours, but in the deeper rhythms of creation itself. Each word the scholar writes seems to require its own small eternity, each phrase demanding silence and consideration, each line building upon the last like stones in an eternal foundation. You close your eyes and let the sounds wash over you, the rain's constant whisper, the soft scratch of pen on paper, the nearly inaudible flutter of pages turning, the distant tinkle of water in hidden fountains. These sounds weave together into a lullaby, a song without words that speaks directly to that place in your soul where all stories are born. When you open your eyes again, the candles seem to burn even more gently, their flames steady and peaceful, casting shadows that dance like ancient memories across the walls. The geometric patterns carved into the stone seem to shift and flow, creating new configurations that please the eye without demanding attention. Background music for the eyes in this symphony of quiet creation. The scholar pauses to sip his tea, the glass warming his hands as he holds it, the amber liquid reflecting the candlelight like captured sunlight. You can almost taste the sweetness on your own tongue, can feel the gentle warmth spreading through your chest, can sense how this simple ritual helps to center his thoughts, to prepare his mind for the next flow of words. On the page before him, you glimpse lines that speak of ancient kings, of battles fought, not with swords, but with honor, of love stories that echo through generations like songs carried on the wind. The words seem to glow with their own inner light, as if the ink itself has been blessed with the power to transcend ordinary language. Rain continues to pattern against the windows, each drop a small percussion in the greater orchestra of night. The sound is neither urgent nor demanding, but constant and comforting, like the heartbeat of the earth itself, like the breathing of some great, benevolent presence that watches over all who seek to create beauty in the world. You feel yourself sinking deeper into the silk cushions, your body releasing tensions you didn't know you carried, your mind following the hypnotic rhythm of the writer's work. Each breath comes more slowly, more deeply, drawing in the sacred air of this place where stories are born, where ancient wisdom takes new form through the alchemy of human imagination. The room seems to expand around you, its walls breathing outward to embrace not just this moment, but all moments, past and future, when human beings have gathered in quiet spaces to transform thought into word, dream into story, vision into legacy. You are part of something larger than yourself, part of the eternal conversation between human consciousness and the mystery that surrounds all existence. Somewhere in the distance, you hear the soft chanting of night prayers, voices lifted in gratitude for the gift of another day completed, another night begun. The sound mingles with the rain, with the scratch of pen on paper, with your own gentle breathing, creating a harmony that seems to rise from the very heart of creation itself. The scholar's hand moves across the page with increasing confidence, as if the words are flowing now, like water finding its natural course. You sense that something important is taking shape beneath his pen. Some story that will outlive the night, outlive the season, outlive perhaps even the civilization that gives it birth. But for now, in this moment, you are content simply to witness, to be present in this sacred space, where magic and reality dance together in the candlelight, where the boundary between dreamer and dream dissolves like mist in the morning sun, where the only truth that matters is the gentle rhythm of rain and breath and the eternal human need to transform silence into song. The night deepens around you, not with darkness, but with peace, not with emptiness, but with fullness, rich with possibility, heavy with the weight of stories yet to be told, soft with the promise of dreams yet to be dreamed. You let your eyes drift closed once more, feeling yourself held safely in this cocoon of contemplation, this sanctuary where time moves like honey, where each moment is a gift to be savored, where the only urgency is the gentle urgency of love itself, love for beauty, love for truth, love for the endless mystery of human experience, seeking expression through the sacred act of creation. In this space between sleeping and waking, between thought and word, between one breath and the next, you find yourself becoming part of the story being written, part of the eternal tale that includes all tales, part of the great conversation that began with the first human being who looked up at the stars and wondered, and continues still in every quiet room where someone sits with pen in hand, listening to the rain, waiting for the next word to emerge from the infinite silence, the silence that holds all words, all stories, all dreams, all the gentle music of souls learning to sing in harmony with the deeper rhythms of existence itself. The candles burn lower now, their flames still steady but smaller, creating an even more intimate circle of light around the scholar and his work. The shadows on the walls have grown longer, softer, like the shadows of late afternoon that promise the coming of peaceful evening, of restful night, of dreams that carry forward the day's most precious discoveries. You feel yourself floating on waves of contentment, each wave carrying you deeper into tranquility, each breath a small prayer of gratitude for this moment, this place, this opportunity to witness the quiet miracle of creation itself, the transformation of silence into meaning, of solitude into communion with all the voices that have ever whispered their stories into the listening darkness of night. And still the rain falls, gentle as a lullaby, constant as love, patient as time itself, reminding you that some things endure beyond the urgency of any single moment, that some rhythms are deeper than the passing rhythms of ordinary life, that in the heart of quietude lies the source of all the beauty that makes existence not just bearable, but wonderful. Filled with wonder, filled with the soft light of understanding, filled with the endless possibility of stories yet to be born from the marriage of silence and song. Chapter 8. The Scroll of Stars. You find yourself drawn deeper into the contemplative rhythm of this rain-blessed night, your awareness expanding like ripples on a still pond, encompassing not just this room with its gentle candlelight and whispered creation, but the entire world that exists beyond these walls, the sleeping city, the distant mountains, the stars that wheel overhead, though hidden now by clouds, heavy with moisture and dreams. The scholar has moved to a different manuscript, one that lies partially unrolled on a nearby table, its edges held down by small stones carved with ancient symbols. From where you rest among the silk cushions, you can see the beginning of what appears to be an epic tale, letters flowing across the parchment like a river of meaning, like thoughts made visible through the sacred alchemy of ink and intention. Rain continues its gentle percussion against the windows, but now you notice other sounds woven into this nighttime symphony. The distant whisper of water flowing through hidden channels in the garden, the soft rustle of leaves stirring in the breeze, the nearly inaudible sound of your own heartbeat finding harmony with the deeper rhythms of this place. A new candle has been lit, slightly taller than the others, its flame reaching upward like a prayer made visible. The additional light reveals details that had been hidden in the softer illumination. The intricate inlay work on the wooden table, mother of pearl, forming patterns that seem to shift and flow when viewed from the corners of your eyes. Geometric designs that speak of mathematical perfection underlying all natural beauty. You notice that the tea glass has been refilled, steam once again rising from its amber surface, carrying with it the subtle fragrance of bergamot and rose petals, scents that seem to awaken something deep in your memory, not specific recollections, but rather the sense of having existed in many such moments, many such nights when the world narrows to the essentials of warmth and light and the quiet companionship of one's own thoughts. The writer's posture has changed slightly, his shoulders more relaxed now, as if the initial tension of beginning has given way to the flowing state that comes when the stories begin to tell themselves. His pen moves more smoothly across the page, pausing less frequently, following rhythms that seem to arise from some source deeper than conscious thought. You allow your gaze to wander across the shelves that line the walls, each book a doorway into other worlds, other times, other ways of seeing and understanding the mystery of existence. Some volumes are bound in leather, worn smooth by countless hands. Others wrapped in silk and tied with golden cords. Still others simple and unadorned, their value lying not in their appearance, but in the wisdom they contain. One book lies open on a nearby reading stand, its pages revealing verses in a script so beautiful that the words themselves seem to dance in the candlelight. Even without understanding the language, you can sense the music in these lines, the rhythm that lifts meaning beyond mere communication into the realm of pure art, where sound and sense unite in something that touches the soul more directly than either could alone. The geometric patterns carved into the stone archways catch your attention, their endless interweavings, suggesting the infinite complexity that underlies apparent simplicity. The way single moments can contain eternities, the way single words can hold entire universes of meaning. You trace these patterns with your eyes, feeling your thoughts slow and deepen, finding in their mathematical precision a kind of visual meditation. Outside, a rain has settled into a steady, gentle rhythm. No longer the scattered drops of early evening, but the sustained whisper of a storm that knows its own patience, that understands the difference between the quick violence of sudden weather and a deep nourishment that comes only from persistence, from the willingness to continue long past the point where urgency has given way to devotion. A scholar lifts his head and gazes toward the window, though you sense he sees beyond the rain-streaked glass, beyond the immediate geography of garden and courtyard, toward some inner landscape where the stories he writes find their true home. His expression holds the quality of listening, as if he receives the tales he records rather than inventing them, as if his role is less creator than translator, bringing into the world of form what already exists in realms beyond ordinary perception. You feel yourself settling even more deeply into the silk cushions, your body finding the perfect balance between relaxation and alertness, between the soft surrender that allows for rest and the gentle attention that allows for wonder. Each breath draws in not just air, but atmosphere, the essence of this place and time, the quality of peace that arises when human activity aligns with natural rhythms rather than fighting against them. A soft sound draws your attention, the quiet rustle of paper as the writer turns to a fresh page. The sound is so subtle, it seems almost imaginary, yet it carries within it all the promise of new beginnings, new stories waiting to unfold, new words preparing to bridge the gap between thought and expression, between the private world of imagination and the shared world of communication. The candles have burned down far enough now that their flames dance closer to the surface of their holders, creating pools of liquid light that seem to breathe with the gentle air currents moving through the room. These tiny flames have witnessed the birth of words that may endure for centuries, have provided the light by which thoughts become legacy, by which individual inspiration becomes collective memory. You notice how the shadows have shifted as the night has progressed, no longer sharp and defined, but soft and flowing, merging with one another in ways that create new shapes, new suggestions of meaning. The boundary between light and darkness has become permeable, flexible, like the boundary between sleeping and waking, between one moment and the next, between the self that experiences and the experience itself. The tea glass catches the candlelight in a way that transforms it into something more than mere vessel, more than simple function. Light passes through the amber liquid and emerges changed, softer, warmer, carrying within it the essence of transformation itself, the way consciousness touches matter and is touched by it in return, the way simple acts become sacred when performed with full attention. Rain patters against the glass with renewed gentleness, as if the storm itself has found its meditative rhythm, its own version of the scholar's steady writing, its own contribution to the symphony of creation that fills this night. Each drop joins the millions that have fallen before it, each one unique, yet part of a pattern larger than any individual element. Like words in a story, like moments in a life, like lives in the great ongoing narrative of existence itself. The manuscript on which the scholar works has grown, page by page, line by line, word by word, into something that begins to have its own presence, its own weight and substance in the world. You can sense the story taking shape, even without reading the words. Can feel the narrative energy building, like the slow accumulation of rain in hidden cisterns, gathering power through patience rather than force. You close your eyes, can let the sounds of the night wash through you, the rain's constant whisper, the soft scratch of pen on paper, the nearly inaudible flutter of your own breath, the distant sounds of water flowing through the garden's hidden channels. These sounds weave together into something larger than their individual elements, a kind of environmental music that speaks to something deeper than the ear, that resonates in the chest, in the bones, in whatever part of consciousness receives beauty directly without need for interpretation. When you open your eyes again, the room seems to have deepened somehow, as if the act of closing your eyes has allowed it to expand into dimensions that exist only when witnessed by this particular quality of attention, this gentle, unhurried awareness that has time for subtlety, for nuance, for the kinds of beauty that reveal themselves only to those willing to wait, to watch, to receive rather than grasp. The scholar's pen moves across the page with what seems like increasing fluidity, as if writer and writing have found their perfect rhythm, their optimal flow. You sense that he has moved beyond the careful construction of early evening into something more spontaneous, more organic, where the story tells itself through him rather than being forced into existence by effort alone. This is the magic hour, you realize, not dawn or sunset, but this deep place in the night, when the barriers between conscious and unconscious become permeable, when the ordinary rules of creation relax and allow for the kind of inspiration that seems to come from beyond the individual self, from whatever source feeds all genuine artistic expression, all authentic communication between one soul and another, across the apparent barriers of time and space and separate identity. The candlelight continues its gentle dance, creating an island of warmth and light in the vast darkness of night, a sanctuary where meaning takes form, where silence transforms itself into song, where the eternal conversation between human consciousness and mystery finds new words, new expressions, new ways of touching the untouchable, of speaking the unspeakable, of making visible the invisible threads that connect all things in the great web of existence. And still the rain falls, patient as time, gentle as love, constant as the turning of seasons, reminding you that some things endure beyond the urgency of any particular moment, that in the heart of quietude lies the source of all the music that makes life not just bearable, but beautiful, filled with the soft light of understanding, filled with the endless possibility of stories yet. And so, beneath the rain, the story drifts into silence. Ferdowsi's words remain eternal, like a gentle echo in the garden of time. Thank you, dear traveler, for sharing this quiet night with me. Until we meet again, may your dreams be soft and your soul wrapped in peace.